out here on the pitch as well, looking to power it on home. Can't find the back of the net yet, but we'll get some revenge with a demo.
Brett's going to be taken down, which is a big pick to get, and this is exactly what I was worried about. But the 2-for-1 is going to come out. Will they be able to secure it? Double players hit by the recon dart, and yes, Battleground!
Good use of the counter there. Was East Valley in the previous one. Now Davis getting their mileage out of the counter as well. But 111% on this Joker means that this is... Oh, with the heal explosion!
We are live here with Week 3 of WSSEA Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Action. We got a matchup between Ephrata against Centralia. My name is Spicy. I'm joined on the mic here with Kaizo. How are we doing today?
Always good. It's always a good day for Smash Bros, man. Even if it is incredibly rainy and windy outside my window and that tree looks like it's trying to come attack me, everything's going to be fine, and we're going to get to see some excellent Smash Bros between, like you said, Ephrata and Centralia Tigers. And Spicy, both of these two teams coming into week number 3 at a 2-0 record. So despite any, preseason hiccups or things that you might have been trying out up until that point, things are going very, very well for both of these teams. So naturally, trying to ride that momentum forward, trying to continue onward with that same record and continue toward those ever-looming playoffs about, 6 weeks out in advance.
Exactly, yeah. And the fun thing about having two undefeated teams at this point in the season is that one of these teams is going to lose that record by the end of the next hour or so. Someone is going to stay undefeated. Someone is going to take their first loss of the season. Both of those teams here, though, are looking to really make their mark, put a statement win here, really cement their spot in the standings. And I'm excited here. We've been seeing some great Smash Bros. Action in the last few weeks. And I'm thinking now, especially after you get a little bit of the rust off, you get some players who are now really developing over the course of time, really going to see some great action, I think, today.
And you know what else I'm really excited about, Spicy? I'm excited to give a huge shout out to Zotac Gaming for helping us power today's stream, because it is thanks to their incredible support that we're able to bring this broadcast to all of you guys at home and help to showcase this amazing talent that we have in the Scholastic esports scene. So let's all go show our appreciation for Zotac Gaming by giving them a shout out on social media, and make sure that you join their community Discord as well. And don't forget to use the hashtag #PoweredByZotac when you post, or hashtag Zotac USA, and that is Zotac, Z-O-T-A-C, as you can see it right underneath us. And Spicy, I think that as excited as I am for Zotac, I'm maybe even more excited to get into this action.
Oh yeah, I am absolutely hyped to see what we got here. You already got the great matchup here. We got the Funky Kong and Donkey Kong profile pictures here already in the ring here. So going to be excited to see what do we have in terms of stages, what do we have in terms of characters, especially here. We get 5 best of 3 sets that we're going to be covering today. And we're kicking it off with a Bowser against a Kirby matchup right away. 2 characters not exactly super high up in terms of like rankings or popularity, but you're going to see some incredible stuff here despite that. We're going to be taking it to Final Destination here to kick us off for this set.
And believe me, man, this Kirby character has got some stuff. Like, people talk about Kirby like he's just kind of, hanging out at the bottom of the tier list. If you're not careful, Kirby will gimmick you. I mean, some of the frame data, very, very good. Those down throw loops, very good as well, especially against something like a Bowser. A big body, heavy faller, can be prone to getting comboed. But at the same time, Spicy, this is the other side of this matchup where you might just explode if you're the Kirby.
Yeah, it explodes right there as you were talking about. That forward smash from Bowser kills so early. We didn't even have to get to that 90% or so, because at a certain point, especially with even the 30%, Bowser F smash does kill pretty early. Bowser, a character who is very strong, but also deceptively fast. We're watching that run speed. Definitely a character who going for that hard read with that F smash once again. They're already off to a great start here. Both of these players just trying to throw out some aerials, going for some big hits like that Kirby with that hammer, and trying to really just see what's going to be happening here, even though the Bowser does have the early lead.
And a good F tilt there. For those of us at home watching this matchup, keep in mind that EHS is going to be representing Ephrata High School. They'll be losing a second stock there to Centralia, who are going to be represented by this Bowser, who just as soon as I start talking about them, also loses their stock, Spicy. So beginning to bring us down into this last stock territory. The first inhale that we've seen of this matchup has not resulted in getting that Bowser neutral B. A good tool, especially with some of these Kirby options to begin to rack on some of that percent, but instead electing for the stage control and just spitting them out and going toward that left side of the stage. So to each their own. I mean, you don't need to use the inhale in every matchup, but definitely is more useful in some than others.
Oh yeah, and here against Bowser,
wow,
inhale would have been a solid move, but that back air from Bowser, like, Kirby's already a light character, and Bowser hits as hard as they do. It's gonna happen and get those kills, especially because that Bowser back air is just way faster than it has any right to be here in Smash Ultimate. And now we're an early lead so far for Centralia, already off to that great start so far. 1-0 in the set so far, but you can never know. We might be seeing a stage counter pick, we might be seeing a character counter pick as well. Really interested to see what the option is going to be here going into the second game.
And, I mean, you've heard about, surely, the Ganondorf down air nipple hitbox, where it seems like, regardless of how high up you are on Ganondorf, you get spiked anyway. That was like an eyeball hitbox on that back air from Bowser. I mean, Kirby was almost completely on the other side of him there, but even despite that fact, Ephrata do end up losing the stock to that back air, as you mentioned, putting them down 1-0 in this first best of 3. Keep in mind, this is going to be a best of 3 for each of these players, and then whoever ends up winning those best of 3s will be getting their team some points, and Spicy will keep track of the points, make sure that we keep everybody updated on who's ahead, who's behind, and how many points you need to stay within the contention.
And we going into the second game, and we see a double character swap here. Centralia actually pivoting to Donkey Kong, another heavyweight character, another character who's really strong on the grabs. You also see Ike coming out here from Ephrata, and I really like the Ike option as well here. A character whose stocks have definitely fallen compared to where they used to be considered, but still a character with a lot of great combos, and you're seeing the Donkey Kong immediately going for those grabs, trying to just establish stage control, because really, DK gets so much value off of that here. And you're guys really going to be seeing this battle between one character fishing for grabs and using that as their main tools for offense versus the Ike, who's using that sword, using that like range option in a way just to keep in the mid-range and use that disjoint to great effect, going for that up B, not going to be able to take the stock just yet.
And neutral B is, whoa, that is not a charged up Donkey Punch, so will not be taking the stock there, but I think we've seen more neutral Bs out of this Ike than I've perhaps ever seen in the entire time that I've been watching this character, Spicy. I mean, this is it's a move that, you know, 5 years ago got buffed to actually be a kill option, does good damage as well, not particularly safe on shield and a lot of end lag on it, but if you're getting this much value out of it, if it's connecting every time, Spicy, why not just keep throwing it out?
Yeah, especially like you see Ike neutral B come out a lot in like edge guarding situations of sorts, especially just to trap the ledge, but using it in neutral I think is actually kind of brilliant in this case, just because you don't really expect it here. Both these character players just kind of in a stalemate for now, just trying to see who's going to be able to do this. I like this stage also here for Ike. You're able to just get a lot of free juggles going on if you're able to combo things. That up air is just really strong. DK going for the grab. There's no stage tech there, and that's going to be an early stock. And Centralia, once again, has this stock advantage and is really just trying to see if they can just take this last stock, getting the berry. Not going to be able to follow up after it, though.
Now, one stock left. A good cargo throw and a carry off stage would probably do it if you get maybe 20, maybe 30 more percent. That last stock got robbed very early on, and counter will be grabbed by Centralia here. Getting this Ike in another off-stage situation. This is not where you want to be, and a parry, unfortunately, does not amount to a punish, as more of these up Bs coming out, Spicy.
Yeah, the uppies are a really great option here for Mike, though. Does a lot of damage and is really great out of shield. That's another stage spike, though, and that is going to be the stock and be the set here as Centralia does take this opening set here 2-0, and what a great start for them so far.
And some stuff to learn from that matchup as well for the Ike player, because Ephrata definitely need to, I don't think Donkey Kong's going to be in every single matchup that you go up against, but if you do see one, you really get matchup checked very quickly, because Donkey Kong will use that cargo throw, and then you've either got to mash out very fast before you get cargo thrown off the stage, or if they're doing the back throw like you could see that Centralia was doing there, you can, like you said, tech that on the stage. That actually is the more reliable way to get back on stage. It's actually more dangerous to be thrown further out if you're something like an Ike, a Crom, a Roy that just doesn't have the best horizontal recovery. But in the end of the day, whatever he was doing definitely worked. I mean, Centralia came out with a very effective strategy between both of those two heavies, and despite the double character swap, like you pointed out, the variety of the matchups that we got to see, it seemed like Centralia really got the better end of both of those.
That's for sure, yeah. But even though Centralia did get the better end of that set, it's still a long set here. Before we get into this number 2, we do want to give a quick shout out to another one of our sponsors, LANFest, giving them that quick thank you for helping to build these healthy communities through gaming. Over 20 chapters across the U.S. and over 150 events per year. Go to landfest.com and check out the Washington chapters, Infernoland and Emerald City Landfest, to find an event near you. One of my favorite sponsors here, honestly. They've done a lot of great stuff over in Washington State for WSSEA. Really happy to see them help out this stream once again, really help build off this community. As we go into this next set, Incineroar and Palutena looking like to be the matchup here.
And keep in mind, I mean, we're talking for LANFest over 150 events a year. That is, to put it in Smash Bros. Perspective, that's more than double the amount of characters in the game.
That's insane,
so that is that's no small amount of events here, Spice. I mean, we're talking quite a few as we do go into this next matchup. As you said, it is going to be another of these heavy characters, this Incineroar, who does have a little bit better aerial game against the... I mean, Palutena, a character that, Spicy, I typically regard as, like, the guardian of high tier. Like, in order to be a high tier character, you gotta have some way to deal with Palutena. And it is not looking like this Incineroar has a good way to deal with her.
Gonna say, I'm watching this Palutena, and the moment I saw down throw into reverse aerial rush back air to open up the set, I was like, this Palutena knows a lot of what they're doing. They have yet to take damage in this matchup so far. They took a quick 0 to death. Going up onto the platforms here on Battlefield as well, you can easily get those up air combinations. That's going to be the first damage on this Palutena so far in this set. And Centralia is off to a great start so far here. I love the usage of these aerials and using the platforms as well to really extend these combos and extend this pressure, because Incineroar, a character that kind of has a weaker disadvantage state, and then going up against a character like Palutena, who really has a lot of ways to maximize and extend these combos, it's really pivotal here just to get something going as this Incineroar tries to take this first stock still.
Man, almost robbed it there with that down smash. Fortunately, the shield does come out on the get up. Still loses the stock either way, though. So a big lead here for Centralia, making the matchup look like, well, frankly, what the matchup is, because this should be very Palutena favored. You've got great frame data. You've got the juggles as well that Axelent has had a very easy time seemingly pulling out in this one, continuing to punish each and every option that this Incineroar throws out. It feels like it's only a matter of time before that star KO ticks down, and what was probably the fastest game we've seen so far in a matchup that you might have thought would have taken a little bit longer, this Palutena off to a roaring start.
Yeah, a 3 stock off the bat is not only a good win here for Centralia, but that is such a huge morale boost for the rest of their team, and the rest of their teammates are going to be playing down the line. Yes, this set is far from over. There's still a counter pick option potentially here, and especially if you are sticking with the Incineroar, I'd be really interested in maybe going to a stage with either a higher ceiling just to have a chance to really avoid the up air killing at such a early percentage, or anything really getting away from Battlefield, because that top platform, you were watching just a lot of combos there from the Palutena, utilizing the top platform, because at that point you're able to reset your jumps and get to a really high up on stage. You're going to Mr. Game & Watch as a counter pick option, and I am loving this personally here, just from an analysis perspective. As a player, I cannot stand playing against Game & Watch at all.
It is just such a frustrating character to play against, man.
Oh
I mean,
my gosh,
every
yes.
one of the buttons just feels so much better than anything you've got. Small hitbox, very good mobility. This character really does feel like they've got it all, but because we are going back to Battlefield, that means Palutena does still get these up air juggle combinations, and we've already got a 70, call it 82% lead here, and stage control for this Palutena. The character swap does not seem to be making a big difference to them at all.
Yeah, and
What
if
a
anything,
read.
it's even harder now because aside with that hard read, Game & Watch also loses stocks much easier because it's a very light character. And once again, that's the second game in a row where a 0 to death opened up the matchup here. And it's really just seeing, for if you're Ephrata, what are we going to do to adjust? Because you're running out of time really quickly because this Palutena, once again, is just running away with this damage percent. Already at 99 here for this Game & Watch. We're at the point where an up air is going to take a stock.
There you go.
Right as I say it on command, and this Palutena is on fire right now.
And I do think that they're just playing so aggressively and getting away with it here, which anytime you can get away with playing this aggressively, man, go for it, push all the buttons you want. You'd think that Ephrata probably needs to really try to go for some more grounded options, try to catch some of these aerials that the Palutena is throwing out, but if you don't manage to get a shield up in time, you will just be juggled like this. Mr. Game & Watch does have some stuff of his own, but he won't be able to show any of it here, Spicy. Centralia with a 2-game-in-a-row lead over the Ephrata boys. This is looking rough because both of those were very decisive battles.
Very decisive indeed. That's double 3 stock. That is very difficult to do here, and I will say that Palutena player is on another level here. At least that's what it felt like just watching at this point. And I know the general thing here in WSSEA with the Smash Ultimate format is that they kind of rank when they bring their players in, they're kind of ranked in order, like quote unquote worst to best in the set order. If that's what we're seeing at the rank 4 matchup from Centralia, I am really excited to see what we're going to see from the rest of this lineup. But I'm also looking at it from Ephrata's side. What's this top 3 going to bring for us today? Because they're at the point, something's got to click soon before things get out of hand.
And I do think you are right to point out the organization of these players, because like you said, it goes from least experienced to most experienced at the bottom, and then the matchups between the less experienced players worth a few fewer points. That, I guess that's right to say it like that. It doesn't feel right, but as you can see, off the back of those 2 wins, Centralia at the bottom of your screen will be up 4-0 over Ephrata. And because of that, we're shifting to a point where they have taken all of the lesser valuable games and we're getting into the more valuable ones. So this one, between this Cloud and this Bowser, are going to be worth 3 points, and then our final 2 games, 4 and 4. And another big point of order, Spicy, Ephrata are down a player right now. Hunter is their current number 1 player, and he's unfortunately out sick this week. So they are doing a little bit of reorganization, have to pull in a sub. That could be part of the reason that Ephrata is struggling a little bit here, even though coming into this one 2-0, and Centralia definitely not letting them get out of this one easy.
I was gonna say, I'm looking at it, we're seeing another Bowser come out here.
Wow.
And that's the 3rd game in a row we saw a 0 to death open it up here, and Centralia is just on absolute fire. They're bringing out another Bowser, another heavyweight here, and these players on this team, they really know what they're doing, and their reads especially are so on point. They seem to just know everywhere where Ephrata wants to go, and they're just getting so much value off of it, especially with a character like Bowser who hits so hard. You're seeing the parries, you're seeing just the options going for those grabs. It's really difficult because against Cloud especially, this is not easy to do, and they're kind of making it seem like Bowser is a like borderline like high tier, top tier character.
I mean, he is, for my money at least, one of the 2 best heavyweights. I think that he and Donkey Kong, in my eyes, pretty close. but he is definitely, you know, as I said about the Game & Watch and the Palutena, Bowser's got some stuff. He definitely has some tools, and you'll see the Flame Breath come out here trying to keep this Cloud off stage. Well over kill percent at this point, and no 0 to death on this second stock, but trying to fight his way forward and get another good clean hit, and the Fair will do it to take that second stock away. Just about 68 on this Bowser, so still sitting pretty.
That's sitting very pretty indeed, going for the up throw, going to follow it up with a forward air as well. Bowser's got those deceptively strong throw combos and a really great grab game, almost a pseudo grappler in that sense as a result, as well as having their own command grab with the side B. And up B at a shield is such a strong option, and indeed, and is that going to be a third 3-stock in a row? These Centralia players, I swear, are on another level right now.
They definitely are, and they're demonstrating exactly what got them to 2-0 to begin with, and they're not pulling any punches, man. I mean, you can come in here and say, like, Ephrata, you're down a player, you have a substitute playing, that shifts up your list a little bit, and if you're Centralia, you could come in here and say, oh, well, you know, we'll use this for experience or try some new things. Nah, man, they want this win, and they are definitely going for it tooth and nail here, making sure that Ephrata know that they are not going to be getting away with one. And I would like to see Ephrata come away with at least a couple of these games. Keep in mind, Spicy, because of the way that the point configuration works, this is still very much a game that Ephrata can come back in, but you really need to put your foot down here in round number 3 and start putting some points on the board as we see the swap off of the Cloud and now onto this Mewtwo.
Mewtwo is an interesting counter pick here. A character who's also, once again, very light, so will lose stocks early to this Bowser. But at least here, you have a really strong projectile here with that Shadow Ball Neutral B if you are Mewtwo, as well as also a really good combo game, and that tail offers a great way just to outrange and basically be a disjointed move, almost as a pseudo sword in a way. It's just a matter of, can you maximize these combos here if you're Mewtwo, while also being able to stay alive at this point. We're not going to see a 0 to death early on in this game. Oh, we're going for a hard read immediately off the bat, though. And it's going to see this first stock here. If Ephrata gets this first stock, that's going to do so much for them here, at least in terms of morale.
Yeah, morale definitely hanging in the balance here as the F-Tilt does push this Bowser off stage. Getting this stock first, like you said, would be a huge boon for them when they really need something. So now that both of these players getting closer to that kill percent, of course, Mewtwo, I think the second lightest character in the game, very much needs to be careful here, especially after he teleports back onto the stage in the run-up F-Smash. That'll get the job done for Ephrata, and answered back. They'll lose a Centralia stock for it. But, you know, Spicy, this is much, much better than the previous game. We're already off to a significantly better start for Ephrata.
Well, Ephrata is definitely happy with this so far, at least now. You are able to get some decent damage in, and Mewtwo has a lot of combos that you're already seeing that forward air into F-tilt right at that moment. But this Bowser, the edge guarding has been really solid here. You don't typically see that from Bowser, but it's been probably one of their better aspects of their game at this point. Another up B on the ground, which is a really strong option there. Not going to fall prey to that read at this point here. And Ephrata is holding on nicely, avoiding the grab as well. But that up smash has deceptive range on the side and catches the Mewtwo landing. That really shouldn't look like it have hit, but there it is. And that's another stock here for Centralia.
Yeah, Scoop Box is very good on that Bowser up smash, and, you know, that's one of the plagues of playing Mewtwo is that you've got that big old tail hurt box that you have to be very careful of. You can see that now Centralia, recognizing the position they're in, tried to go for some of those Bowser sides off the left side of the stage, will instead have to get back on the hard way. No ledge trap comes out from this Mewtwo, just letting the Bowser back on stage and trying to play the neutral once more. Have plenty enough kill power. I think that a forward air should be able to do it, at least from the side of the stage, and getting you back down to even stocks would be very critical here for Ephrata. You gotta make sure that you avoid some of these charged smash attacks that Centralia's been throwing out left and right.
Oh yeah, and especially at this percentage here, Bowser with this rage is going to kill much earlier than before. That's an up tilt to cover the air dodge in as well. Another air dodge in covered by the up tilt. And this Bowser player is just, they know they just need to hit any like strong move at this point, and that's going to be a stock. fully charged Shadow Ball is on deck. That up tilt not going to connect, but that F tilt will, and that's just gonna be that fist. And I can't believe that worked out. That was just great spacing on Centralia's end, and while not a 3-stock, still a pretty decisive win on their end, and that's another set going their way.
Yeah, I do think that another matchup check on the cards there is the tough guy passive for Bowser comes in on that rapid jab. Ordinarily, very challenging to get a parry off there and use that F-tilt at that range and kind of have to break through the rapid jab from the Mewtwo, but because Bowser doesn't have to worry about those inputs of damage that are a little bit lower on the bottom threshold, you can just throw out that option, and not only good for 2-framing on the ledge, also good for catching those lightweight characters like Mewtwo.
Oh, yes.
When they're trying to go for something a little bit more aggressive. So kudos once again to Centralia, Spicy, as we are down to our last 2 rounds of competition, and the points are only going up. Centralia, 7 points in the lead, and Spicy, it is still in the works for Ephrata here. It is still doable.
It is still doable. The interesting thing about this format is that these last 2 sets are worth the most points. And even though a team like Centralia did win the first three and are up 7-0, both of these next sets are worth 4 points. You could still bring this all the way back if you're Ephrata. And this would be what a story if they pull this off. Down their best player as well. We're going into an interesting matchup here. A Ridley against a Terry to take us into this next set. I'm interested to see this, especially from Centralia's side. You've been seeing a lot of great movement as well as just overall tech skill. And Terry, a character that utilizes the traditional fighting game inputs. I'm so interested to see what is this combo game going to look like as you're immediately seeing some great strings already.
And has felt like one of the bigger buffs to Centralia over their competition have been that shield play and being able to play a little bit more defensively. A good side B there from this Ridley. At least tack on some percentage, and a stall in the air as well. I mean, we're getting some decent value here, and now pushing this Terry off stage. Go meter is online, and they will just go ahead and throw it out, man. Buster Wolf takes that one.
Yeah, are you okay? No, they are not, but actually, maybe they have something to say about that. That's an up smash early, and we're once again here, tied up 1 apiece here. Now it's a matter of seeing what's going to be the option. Oh, we do see the down throw into up air into charge up B. That's a very technical option here for this Terry, who's already up to a 91% at this point. And there's that charge F smash, and that's a 0 to death. That's like the 4th one we've seen here today. And what great play so far from Centralia's side, who's just going to look to keep this lead and try and just add on some more percent. Look at this. Go.
A lot of extra credit here for this Terry, and if you know anything about Terry, you know he's not going to stop mashing those attacks, man. You really want to go off stage here, try to exploit one of Terry's weaker spots, but instead using that stage presence and getting another side B, resetting the ledge trap situation here, but Terry will end up jumping over there, double down tilt into the burn knuckle, won't do it, but a power dunk will send this Ridley off stage and goes for a burn knuckle off stage as well, just trying to get the job done. There's that charged power tackle and barely won't do it. I mean, just about anything else Spicy will.
Yeah, especially against Terry with the charge up B once again is going to take the stock here. No red flash needed here, but overall, another great showing here from Centralia. This Terry gameplay has been phenomenal up to this point. You're seeing some great combo extensions and really just a great sense of knowing how to pilot the character. Terry is one of those fighters in this game where because of the fighting game mechanics as well as the needing to like face your opponent pretty much every time, it can kind of trick some players up, especially they open up themselves up for like cross-ups and stuff like that. But you saw just really great knowledge and familiarity and the comfort with Terry. And when you see a player who's just really good at a character like that, it shines. And that's one of those examples there. Really wondering now from Ephrata, basically down to their last game in terms of being able to win out in this set. What's the option going to be at this point?
Yeah, effectively the tournament game here, tournament stock if you want to call it that, for these players on Ephrata. And you know, we got a little rope-a-dope action there. It looked like they might have been going for a double character swap, but instead we will be seeing that same matchup. It'll just be a stage selection change here. Is worth pointing out that the platform configuration on the previous stage did seem to favor the Terry a whole lot more. You don't really get A lot of good juggles if you're Ridley. Both of these characters probably pretty comfortable on FD. I don't think this necessarily leans one direction or the other, but just being able to get away from the platforms, I think, is definitely going to help out Ephrata.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the bigger things here, but the one limitation of not having platforms is that when you're recovering, that's one less option to go to, and that makes it easier for Centralia to read those recovery options and gain that charge F smash as you saw at that moment. Ephrata is able to get some other options though, and I do like the usage of the specials, whether it be the side special for the command grab as well as the neutral special to just act as a zoning tool. Just really try and give yourself some space, because you can definitely beat out this Terry if you're just able to control spacing out here right now, but it's looking very difficult, especially with the combos and the extensions and the reads that you are seeing from the Centralia Terry.
Yeah, I mean, the side B, such a critical portion of this Ridley's game plan. Not only this player, but just the character in general, and the presence of mind to back up, bait that option out, go for that charged F smash. You can tell Centralia operating on a very high level right now, and it doesn't seem like Ephrata are going to be keeping up anytime soon. Remember, they do have to take not only this game with one stock remaining, they've also got to sweep another game and then another set if they want to come back. And it doesn't look like Ephrata is going to be given the option. They've got the Terry at kill percent now, and whoa, buddy, just grabbing him, just run up and do it in the face of the charge down smash. There's not an ounce of fear in this guy's body.
And that's a statement move right there, to go for the Buster Wolf, knowing that there's a charge smash attack right in front of you, and you have to do more work to get the Buster Wolf out. The double quarter circle forward into the attack button. And while there's a smash attack being charged, gutsy play, and it pays off. And like Centralia, what a showing they've been seeing from here today. And I think a big thing part of that, if you look from their bio, this is a team with a lot of experience, not just here in WSSEA in high school esports, but these are players going to tournaments too. And you can really start to see it here across this entire roster. What a showing here from this side.
Yeah, and I mean, we get a little bit of background lore on all these teams. In Centralia, we're very proud to share the fact that they do also participate, in addition to Smash Bros. Ultimate. They play the Smash Home Run contest as well. And if you want to talk about a good way to level up your combo game, don't go to training mode, man. Start beating up on that sandbag, because it is showing out here. Every single time that these Centralia players have come out, they have had incredible combos from the Palutena, the Terry that you just saw, even on some of the heavyweights as well. They've had a lot of success using those combos and racking up the percentage. So shoutouts to the diversity and the creativity that this roster really brings as well, as we do go into our final game here. And unfortunately, Spicy, I think that this one's sealed.
It is sealed at this point here, and we're going to be going in with the Steve against the Bowser matchup. This time, Ephrata is the one with the Bowser. We've been seeing a lot of Bowser action so far this set, and Steve, especially here, you see why Steve is such a polarizing character. It's another 0 to death off the bat here, and this time from the Centralia ace as well. Steve being a character who's been seeing a lot of play for a lot of different reasons. They're definitely just able to get a lot off of these different extensions and really using those blocks to their best value, and that is just insane. What are we doing here? I can't believe they're just able to do all of this. What gameplay we are watching right now.
Yeah, gameplay's a word for it, man. I call it an abomination personally, but we won't get too far into that. Instead, we'll go right back into the gameplay here. Ephrata, they are out of the contention to win the week, but they can still walk away with that moral victory of at least taking one of these sets. Is going to have to come at the hands of this Steve, who, like you said, I mean, very, very good. This is, of course, the ace of Centralia now that we've got these games that are much more valuable points-wise, so you can definitely tell that this is a player who very comfortable with their character's own game plan. Steve kind of feels like he plays his own game at times, and when you have this much mechanical skill to go along with it, it really only seems to double down on that.
It really does, yeah, especially because Steve is a character that definitely gets rewarded for having some certain technical skill and really just great overall game knowledge, because being able to mine effectively, being able to position yourselves in a great spot, that's all that really where the strength of Steve gameplay lies, and really where I think the difficulty comes from is Bowser from Ephrata is able to seal the deal and get that next stock, but what a huge percentage, and especially because the Steve now has the diamond as well, building some blocks, building some terrain, making a little bit of a road as well as the minecart is able to seal the stock, and they're down to a last stock situation now for Ephrata.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this Steve is just racking up percent like nobody's business, man. That diamond does not mess around. Already has this Bowser back up to 70%. It is worth pointing out, no mats really to work with for the Steve. He's been kind of just laying on the pressure the entire time, so no time to really back up and mine. And that could get dicey here. Off stage, recovers low. And Ephrata will let them back onto the stage and give them a little bit of breathing room to do some of that mining. Now that the resources are recovered, I mean, this just feels like a matter of time at this point. Back air will push the Bowser off stage and will fire breath through the wall, but I don't think he's going to like to see what's on the other side of it.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to see that if I'm Bowser either at this point. You got to go through the minecart, you got to go through different block formations. There's still the fishing rod, a lot of different options, as well as a diamond sword in front of you. Going for another command grab. It looks like it is stale at this point, not going to be able to take a stock, and Bowser is just trapped in the minecart at this point, getting blocked in as well now. Having to fight through all this material just to get a stock, and there's the anvil going to take that final stock, and here we are, Centralia up another game here in this last set.
There's a lot of characters that have started to experiment in the last couple of years with some of those footstool confirms in neutral. Like if you can get a punish instead of going for like your traditional tilt attack, going for a footstool down air. And let me tell you, Corrin players love that, and I'm really happy for Corrin players that they've got something that they think is cool these days. But when you're playing against Steve and you get footstool down aired and you just explode like you got hit by a smash attack at whatever it was, 89% as Bowser, that just doesn't feel right, man. This character, obviously, if you've been following the competitive scene for a bit, you're aware of the we'll call it the discourse around Steve, but you can't knock the players for being able to use the tools that they've got at their disposal. And Centralia definitely have a very, very valuable resource in this very comfortable Steve player that they got as the ace in the hole.
Yeah, and having a Steve as your ace in this setting is just
in this
so
economy,
vital here. That's insane. Like, it works out so well for this team. It's just pretty much everything you want. Literally the best character in the game at this point of to popular opinion, and really doesn't have too many rough matchups as well. And you get so much value, and we're going to Pokemon Stadium too, and Steve really thrives at a lot of these stages here as well. So you're really seeing the difference in being able to use the resources and utilize the different platforms to help build these extensions, going up, taking them for a ride as well, because you get Steve who can play both on the offensive as well as the defensive, and it makes it a character with just a lot of flexibility, and it just shows, it really does lead at least into a lot of player expression, which is nice to see as you are watching this Steve just really maximize all of this damage as well as getting creative with the stage formatting.
And it is worth pointing out, I mean, there's been some discourse as well as we're talking about Steve and some of the things he does well and poorly about the stage selection, because he really doesn't have a ton of bad stages. A lot of the flexibility inherent with the character means that he just kind of gets to feel comfortable on just about any stage. Platforms, no platforms, tri-plat, doesn't really matter. Really, the only thing that people have noticed to be one of his weaker configurations is stages that aren't really legal right now, like Yoshi's Story, like Lilac Cruise, all of these stages that aren't super common in a lot of tournament rule sets. And because of that, he's kind of just been allowed to thrive and, well, frankly, Spicy, do a lot of this. Just beat up on some of these characters and sometimes himself with these TNT blocks and just kind of throw out anything that he really wants to. And there's not a whole lot you can do to punish him.
It's really hard to punish Steve at this point, but at least as a character like Bowser, you are able, if you do get a punish, you do a lot of damage. You are able to take a stock. Sometimes that down air is not going to kill. That one will, though, at this point. And we are now tied at 2 stocks apiece. But the Steve is once again at Diamond already. And this is such a rough situation here if you are this Bowser. You got to figure out a way to get in a safe manner. But Steve had just has much better frame data, especially now. And it's just so hard to get anything going. But if you don't push up, the Steve just gets resources. And it's just a lose-lose situation here if you are Bowser. And it's so hard to figure out a way just to get in.
Yeah, you don't really get timed out a lot as Bowser. The games are usually pretty explosive, but if you're not willing to approach even into the array of resources that the Steve player has, I mean, you do run that risk, so you gotta go in at some point, and I don't think that any of these opportunities are gonna feel any better than the next one, or the one before them. When the Steve is starting to place these blocks with iron, just because that's how many darn resources they have, Spicy, I think that it's safe to say that you're probably a little bit behind.
You are a little bit behind, but we are once again now at a tied game. Last stock piece here, but Steve does have a lot more resources, but the Bowser is in the lead in terms of percent. Anything can happen here. Never mind, Steve is already extending with these diamond combos, trying to get the minecart once again as well, using the block to extend everything here. Charge up forward smash, not going to take the stock, but what a huge amount of percentage here.
And he is very much at kill percent now. I mean, Anvil probably going to do it. That back air deceptively strong as well. And that'll push him off to the right side of the stage. Next one will do about the same. And I think 3 little pigs, the last one is going to be just right if the... Wait, hang on a second. That might be Goldilocks. But the point being that this next back air likely to do it, at least if he gets another diamond tool. That one did just break, so he does need to go back to the crafting table if he wants to have those full resources. But instead just continuing to juggle this Bowser with these throws, finally manages to craft that next tool, and that might be the last nail in the coffin for Ephrata here. They're trying to cling on to this last stock that they've got as a team. You'd love to walk away with at least one game here, but I think that both of these players beginning to understand that that is not likely going to be where we're headed.
It doesn't look like that's going to be the option here, as we are at a bit of a stalemate at this point. It is interesting to note, though, that the Bowser does have a win condition. Not going to matter at that point, but if it charged F smash after a shield break by the ledge, that could have changed things for that Bowser. But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case here, as Centralia, dominant fashion, is able to sweep all the sets, sweep all the games, and remain undefeated here in WSSEA.
Yeah, they'll be advancing to 3-0, and take a little peek-see-poo at the match history that they've had. All of their wins so far, now including this Ephrata win, have been in very dominant fashion. They only dropped 2 points to Camus Smash in week number 1, and they didn't drop any points at all to Battleground Smash in the previous week either. So this is a team that definitely, if you've got playoffs in mind, you better have some answers in mind for some of these heavies that Centralia has been throwing out. That Steve as well, also something that you better do your homework for, because if you're not ready for it, if these are things that you just assume will fall into place, well, you might be the next on a list of people that get swept by the Centralia roster.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And that's Steve. The building was so impressive on their end as well, which does go into our last sponsor of the day, Seattle Built PCs.
Oh, that's clean.
Gotta give you their quick shout out there, their continued support of WSSEA. Seattle Built PCs are the custom PC builders trusted by the pros since 2020. They've been crafting, just like Steve, incredible rigs for world-famous esport players, content creators with millions of fans, and even the developers of your favorite games. They want to work with you guys to create the perfect PC for your needs whenever you guys are ready. So if you're looking for a custom PC built by people who care, check out Seattle Built PCs at seattlebuilt.com.
Now, well said, Spicy. And with that said, now, I do think that is going to do it for us. So we are going to give one final thank you to all of our sponsors. You can see them here underneath, the Zotac Gaming LANFest, and as you were just saying, Seattle Built PCs for helping make everything possible here. Speaking of making everything possible, I want to give a big ol' thank you as well to Connie and Taylor and everybody at LANFest for helping us in the background, doing all the hard work, so that we can just yell at video games, Spicy, and we get to live our dreams as well. And if you do want more WSSEA action, we've got some more coming up next week, beginning on Tuesday on March 25th at 4 p.m. PST. We got some Rocket League, and then I think Valorant will be after that. And then we'll be back next week on Thursday for even more Smash Bros. Spicy. But that's going to do it for us. Everybody, have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Stay hydrated.